Welcome back to the Broto Fantasy Football Podcast presented by BrotoFantasy.com. I'm your host, Tim PETROP, with my brothers, the only two twins that give you double that fantasy goodness, Michael and Jason PETROP. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is the summer heat.
It's hot in here.
We are on to our next team, the Chiefs. Our next team, the defending champions of this division with the defending MVP on the team. Let's get started right away. What do you guys say? Let's start with the offensive outlook. We're looking at the coaching and the coaching staff of the team. Head coach Andy Reid, he's been the same guy for a while there. Offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, who had a lot of head coaching opportunities after what he did with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs last year. Didn't get one, so he stays on as offensive coordinator. We're expecting sort of the same kind of offense, air raid type system, West Coast modified type system that Andy Reid runs.
Yeah, there's no reason to think otherwise.
Yep. All right, so let's get started then with our position breakdowns. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, is the quarterback of this team. Obviously, I don't think there's going to be a camp battle for quarterback this year. I don't know.
I don't even know who the backup is.
He 50 TDs last year. NFL MVP. Can he do it again is the first question. And number two, are you paying up for him in the third round where he's going right now? Let's kick to Jason to start this. Do you think Patrick Mahomes can get 50 touchdowns again?
Of course. Yeah. Why wouldn't you think that? There's no reason not to. It's not like the defense is insanely improved. It's not like he's going to digress in any way. It's not like he lost Tyreek Hill because he's not getting suspended. All they did was bring in Hardman to add another fast guy to the fold. So there's no reason to think he's not going to be great again, and that's the thing. That's why he's going in the third round. I wouldn't do it. I think that the ADP is too high just for a quarterback. When you're looking at my rankings, right, you see Big Ben, Phillip Rivers in the back teens. Why waste a third-round pick where you can get Keenan Allen, who we talked about in the last heat wave, right, on a quarterback? So Mahomes is going to be a game changer, and if you get him, you're not going to be disappointed. I really don't think so. In the Andy Reid offense, another year in it. He was the number one quarterback in true throw value last season, most valuable throw. You're not going to be disappointed. It's just too high of an ADP for me.
It's not often that you see someone go crazy efficient and crazy explosive at the same time. That was Patrick Mahomes last year. A lot of people are taking him in. You know what it is? I think
Guys, I wrote an article about this.
You did?
Check it out. QB or not QB? That is the question.
BrotoFantasy.com. So, Michael, why don't you enlighten the people?
QB variance scoring is way lower compared to running backs and wide receivers. So just based off that fact alone, drafting a quarterback early doesn't make sense. Tight end is the other position that is usually only one slot, so it's most similar to QB. Tight end variance scoring is way larger than QB. So the tight end 12 and the tight end 1 is so ridiculously different than the QB 1 and the QB 12. So just scoring alone makes taking Patrick Mahomes that early a bad pick.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to disagree with you guys here. I love Patrick Mahomes as the fantasy player, but like Michael says, his favorite motto, you don't hate players, you hate ADP. I just don't see myself taking a quarterback in the third round. That's something that is just against my rules. Let's move on to wide receiver then. Now that we got Patrick Mahomes, good year, not a great ADP. Tyreek Hill, a guy that we thought that the Chiefs might be without for up to the entire year. Then it got down to 8 games. Then it got down to 4 games. Then the NFL finally announced Tyreek Hill, no suspension at all. Scott Fishbowl, I got him in the 4th round. Michael got him in the 4th round, right? Jason got him in the 3rd round. We're really excited about that. Finished as the overall wide receiver 1 last season. A lot to like, but at the same time, inconsistent. He finished outside of wide receiver 3 on 5 separate occasions, but at the same time, he finished as the first wide receiver overall on the week 4 times last year. 4 times. So you take the times where he's not great because he's going to literally win you a week otherwise. Jason, what's your outlook on Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, this isn't Ted Ginn we're talking about, right?
This is not Ted
We're
Ginn.
talking his boom games are 50 points, 40 points. We're talking his bust games will be 7, right?
Yeah, to 10.
He's not going to lose you your week. And if he does, you take it because he's going to win you other weeks.
If he loses you your week, then you probably don't have a team around him. If you're banking on a team that's bad enough where Tyreek Hill needs to have 50 points for you to win, then your team shouldn't win anyway.
Exactly. He's not going to kill you. And if you're looking at this offense, Mahomes and Hill is just an unstoppable duo, especially with Kelce in the middle of the field. So it's not like you can pay too much attention to Hill because you got other weapons. There's no way Tyreek Hill doesn't end as a wide receiver 1 in this offense with his abilities. So you take the volatility and, if anything, just use it later in your draft. If you're deciding between Robert Woods and maybe Stephon Diggs, who's a little more up and down, you take Woods because he's a little bit safer if you want to balance it that way. But you don't pass up on Hill just because of volatility. He's going to be great again.
After you saying something like that, I just got to plug BrotoFantasy.com. You're only getting analysis like that from this guy right here who knows how to win fantasy championships, period. Like, that's how you build a team right there. If you have Tyreek Hill, get Robert Woods. If you have a guy that's more like, I don't know, who's like Julio Jones, where he has a big floor, then you go for the big Stephon Diggs kind of move. Another guy who you don't know where he's going, up and down, Sammy Watkins. Another injury-plagued season for Sammy. Can he ever turn around, Michael, or is this just what he is?
So Sammy Watkins, like you said, injury plague. He had 3 games last season in which he scored single digits, 5 games in which he scored under 12 points. And he only had 7 fully healthy games, or 8 fully healthy games, because 3 of them he scored over 12 points. So 3 games over 12 points, 5 games under 12 points. Continues to be a mid-6th round pick, if not earlier, in most leagues just because of the name and the high draft capital and the team that he's on. But I mean, it's just time to face the fact that Sammy Watkins isn't this 1A receiver that he was drafted to be.
Even the role that he plays, that's supposed to be this great role, Andy Reid's never really carried 2 wide receivers ever.
Yeah.
Fantasy-wise.
And Tyreek Hill, if Tyreek Hill was out, Sammy Watkins would have been a much better pick at his ADP, but it's not. And Sammy Watkins, he's still being drafted. It was weird because when Tyreek Hill was supposed to be out, Sammy Watkins was still going in like the 5th, 6th round. So it's not like anything changed, and he's still going in that area, which makes no sense to me. And he's always hurt. He's not trustworthy. He's very volatile scoring-wise. So Sammy Watkins is someone I'm probably not going to own, someone I'm not interested in owning. If you're in that point of the draft, do you want to take upside? I don't see the upside in Sammy Watkins, and the injury history scares me a bunch too. So Sammy Watkins is not someone I'm going to be targeting. And then guys like Demarcus Robinson, I'm not targeting either because that's just not how the Chiefs' Andy Reid offense rolls.
What about Micole Hardman? Anything?
No.
All right, so let's move on to the running backs. Jason, take it away. I'm not even gonna spend any time on this. Jason, take it away.
Damien fucking Williams, my guy. If you're in the 2nd round, take him. That's it. There's no reason to not do that. If you look at his competition, right? Because even a few months ago, people like Carlos Hyde, Darwin Thompson, James Williams. Guess what? James Williams already cut. So fuck out of here, people who thought James Williams was going to do something. Now you're talking about Darwin Thompson, some small little scat back who was drafted in the 6th round. He's not there to become the every down back. And guess what? Andy Reid uses every down backs.
Always.
And why was Carlos Hyde brought in? For insurance. Because guess what? You need backups in the NFL, people.
I mean, no one could tell you that more than the Chiefs last year.
Exactly. And if you look at Carlos Hyde, he's only been the worst receiving back in the NFL over the last 4 years on a lot of different measures.
And Warren Sharp, who's a great fantasy, puts out some great fantasy numbers.
Sharp guy.
Basically showed that the last 3 teams Carlos Hyde has been on, they're way more effective when Carlos Hyde is not on the field.
Yeah, I saw that. That was honestly, I was already off the Carlos Hyde bandwagon, but that was like kind of mind-boggling.
I quote tweeted it with the up and down letters, the SpongeBob meme voice saying like, well, he's going to take Damien Williams' job.
Exactly. I mean, and Damien Williams, what did he do this offseason? Sign an extension. No big deal. Not like they believe in him. And then if you look at what he did, 5 games as a starter, he had at least 10 rushing attempts and at least 6 targets in every game. So that's at least 16 touches in the Chiefs offense with the number 1 throw from Mahomes, the most valuable throw in the league. Scored a touchdown in every game as a starter. 8 touchdowns in those 5 games. And you're telling me you don't want him in the 2nd round? Get out of here with your risk. The reward greatly outweighs the risk. That is also being greatly outweighed by bad takes because there's no risk here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're taking Williams.
I think Damien Williams, especially because even if he's not the every down back and Carlos Hyde does get a little work, he's still going to be the receiving back 190%. And I want that guy. Is he going to live up to the draft capital of the 2nd round at that point? No. But he's going to be a good player on your team.
If he's 80% Kareem Hunt, he's a 2nd rounder.
Yeah. Let's move on to maybe the only 1st rounder on this team. It's interesting when you have this good of an offense, but maybe only 1 1st rounder.
I wouldn't be super shocked if Tyreek Hill went back end 1st round.
Yeah,
there is still a little risk with him.
That's true.
But
let's move on to the tight ends. Travis Kelce, he's the tight end 1. How early is too early to pick Travis Kelce?
Travis Kelce's like the exception to the rule for tight ends because he's so much better than the rest, kind of like how Rob Gronkowski was in his glory days. So if you draft Travis Kelce, I don't hate it, but I personally am not going to take him in the first round. Second round, I'll consider it. But if you take him in the first round, and it's a regular league, it's not tight end premium, then I'm probably not going to own any Travis Kelce.
The one thing about Travis Kelce is all of his stats, there's nothing that's wrong about them. Like some guys, they have these empty stats. He fits every single metric, and he checks every single box.
First in true throw value true target value for tight ends as well.
Another stat that you're only going to get at Broto. The most fantasy-rich production duo last year. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce on the road.
On the road. Interesting.
Patrick Mahomes is actually much more efficient on the road than at home last season.
Mahomes and Kelce on the road, more fantasy points than any other duo.
You got to wonder if it's just because they are like the true alpha males are just like, yeah, give me that shit. All right, so now that we went through the position players,
Totally.
One injury away, who is the guy that's going to be a fantasy relevant player after the one injury that you know always happens in the NFL? Let's start with Michael this time. Michael, who's your one injury away?
For me, it's Darwin Thompson. I'm not a huge Darwin Thompson guy like some people are who are like Darwin Thompson, pounding the table for Darwin Thompson as if he's like this stud running back. I'm not dumb. No offense to those people, or offense to those people, I guess. But Darwin Thompson, Damien Williams has never really had a full workload before, so an injury is possible. He has gotten hurt in the past. And if Damien Williams goes down, which is a big if, and I hope it doesn't happen, if people are rushing to waiver wire for Carlos Hyde and paying big bucks of fab money, go grab Darwin Thompson, who I would not be shocked at all if 1 or 2 games after Carlos Hyde doesn't play well, Darwin Thompson starts getting most of the work. Because as we just talked about, Carlos Hyde has never been a pass catching back, and he just has not been very effective over the last few years. So Darwin Thompson would probably get a shot right away, and if he's able to produce, then he could be a big-time piece.
Jason?
I went with the wide receivers. I don't think that it's a coincidence that Andy Reid brought in Micole Hardman and has DeMarcus Robinson. Basically, the lesser clones of the two people he has. Hardman is meant to be there if Tyreek Hill gets hurt. DeMarcus Robinson is meant to be there if Sammy Watkins gets hurt. Watkins is 6'1", 205. DeMarcus Robinson is 6'1", 203. And if we have Mahomes throwing the ball and one of these guys gets injured between Watkins and Hill, there's going to be value there. Not as much, but there's going to be value. And I think that we could definitely see Robinson or Hardman contributing at some point this season.
I went with the same thing, wide receiver, and I went with Hardman just because if Tyreek Hill gets injured, I want the guy that's standing in Tyreek Hill's place. I want the guy who's getting the most throws. Well, maybe not the most throws at that point, but the longest throws.
Most explosive throws.
Most explosive throws from the most efficient quarterback in the league, especially on the road, which I just learned today. Shout out to Jason and True Throw Values. Yeah, so I think Micole Hardman is one injury away. Shout out to the fact that his name is Micole. That's one of the best names I've ever heard.
Mikola.
That's it for our Chiefs breakdown on our summer heat. Remember to follow us on Twitter.
Yep.
At Mike_Petrop,
baby.
at Jason Petrop,
Yep.
and at Tim Petrop. You can find us all at Broto Fantasy and at Broto Fantasy on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
And Patreon.
And don't forget, patreon.com/Broto Fantasy. Until next time.
BrotoFantasy.com. Can't forget the site. Peace.